There we go. So just some background, I think it's probably preaching to the choir here, but we've moved from a world where we manage customer premise equipment for our customers. Traditionally, have been physical appliances from known vendors, Cisco's, Fortinet's, et cetera, to an NFV-based model where we now have a universal CPE. It's an x86 box, and these functions, same vendors, run as software functions on this universal CPE. So we may have a Cisco virtual router or a Juniper virtual router running on a VM within the x86 platform. So the key background of this universal CPE for us is really an x86 box that can run these things in software, virtual machines, or eventually Linux containers. So some of the background of this, we've been developing white box solutions in AT&T. It's probably not well known. We don't sell boxes and compete with vendors on hardware. We create the boxes to deliver services to our end customers. We've been developing a box called the AT&T VPN Gateway for about 15 years, and we've been using it to provide IPsec-based VPNs, both site-to-site and site-back to the network-based VPN. We have built the hardware, designed the hardware, had it built for us. We own the software. We developed the software that runs on it. It does IPsec, it does base routing, it does base firewall functions. So we have about 100,000 of these units in the network today that we support. So it's a fully managed solution. AT&T deploys the hardware, we're going to turn it up, and then we're going to manage it on behalf of the customer. So in about 2014, we started developing something that's going to do this function, but more functions than just the simple IPsec and routing. AT&T has made a statement, we're going to virtualize, you probably want to hear this, 75% of our network by 2020. So part of this effort is also going down not just the central office and data centers, but looking down at the customer prem for the equipment we manage at the customer prem. So we came up with the concept of the universal CPE, again, which is an x86-based platform. Again, we wanted to support multiple virtual functions running in x86. A lot of it's the traditional things you have at a customer premise, such as a router, a firewall, WAN acceleration. But because it's x86, it can do many other things in the future. It does not have to be only those traditional functions. You could have a print server, a file service, any other things that the customer would want the operator to manage. So we're currently supporting this universal CPE as a GA product. It's under the AT&T FlexWare product name. And so really what we want to do is we took this to market. We really wanted to take advantage of the OCP community and develop a reference architecture for operators that are in this business to focus this platform specifically on the needs of the operators. We have run into some challenges with generic x86, and we've had to do some custom builds. So we really want to work together as a community to kind of bring that to market. We think this will bring a lot of innovation. There's a lot of things, a lot of experiences we all have working with enterprise customers. And we want to provide a high quality, low-cost platform for the end customers. Our view is, we want to make this hardware generic. We want to focus on the software. We're SD-enabling our network, so we want to make the hardware generic and allow us to innovate on software going forward. So that's our goal with AT&T. Any questions so far?
Did you start deploying the FlexWare part stuff for 3 years?
No, we started shipping the first customers last August. We started developing the concept to deliver. It took about 2 years for initial concept, prototypes, and customer service.
Yeah, I guess the software provided by the vendor community will be modular.
Right.
Will you retain overall control for the software integration and support of the total system?
Yeah, so there's, the way we work it today is, yes, we'll have the hardware, the base operating system we manage. The virtual functions, let's just take a router. So we have different ways we do it. So some customers want us to do everything for them. So you go work with Cisco, and we do it today in the physical world. I'm just going to I'll pay you a monthly fee, you go do it for me. So that virtual function, we'll have our engineers manage that, integrated fully. There's a feature set we're going to have, there's certain features we're going to support. We also support the model where the customer wants to maintain control of that virtual function. So all we're going to do is spin up the VM with that Cisco router. And the customer then gets access, and they can configure it however they want. So that's a customer managed model. So there's a lot of customers that do it yourself today. They want to continue that, but we can still give them the base platform and service chain and other functions together for them. But as far as integrating, if it's a customer managed, we'll just make sure it integrates with the base system. We can boot it up, and they'll take over.
But when they need to call someone, do they call you?
If it's the base platform, us. If it's the virtual function, they'll call that vendor. Obviously, there'll be sometimes we'll all have to be involved in working together. Okay. So, from an architecture, some of the things we've seen in the areas, this isn't a complete list, and there's certain things here that are debatable, but we've seen x86-based platforms. We've looked at ARM-based platforms as well, but we don't see an ecosystem of vendors running their software from a network point of view yet on ARM. So we're not tied to x86, but that's where we've seen most of the vendors playing right now. We see a big need for encryption, obviously IPsec and different encryptions. SD-WAN market is evolving, so a lot of customers want encryption end-to-end, so we see having a co-processor capability option being very important. The TPM module to have a secure boot function, so these boxes are not going to be in a data center or a CO, they're going to be in a customer premise location, so being able to make sure the image that's booting up on that is a signed image and someone cannot take over that box because it's an unsecure location potential. We definitely need flexible RAM and storage options, sizes, so we see different customers, they just want to run simple routing and firewalling, so they don't need a lot of storage, for example. But other functions like caching or WAN acceleration need a larger disk space, having that ability to be flexible there. Ethernet, obviously, support power over Ethernet, that's a debatable topic, and depending, some of the customers want to connect IP phones or cameras, whatever it may be, so they want the power coming out of the box. What we've done also is put a merchant silicon and Broadcom chip in our universal CPE to offload a lot of the LAN traffic. So traffic that's sitting on the local LAN, we don't have to use the x86 to actually switch that traffic. We have a simple, depending on the size, we have a simple merchant silicon chip that offloads that forward. Now, that's not needed everywhere or very low-end box. The virtual switch can actually do a lot of that forwarding, so that can be optional as well, depending on the size. We talk about EMC, so we see that because these are remotely managed. We're going to a model where we manage through LTE as opposed to the traditional analog dial-in to the console ports. So to have something that's not tied to the main x86 to be able to get into that box is very important, remotely. Single option and dual power depending on sites. Small sites typically don't need dual power, but if it's going to go into a data center, larger site, customers want dual power capabilities. One other thing I got here is last gasp. Something our operations teams ask for is that if someone's powering down the box or it's a power failure, it'll send out a trap before it goes down. And that way our operations teams knows this thing failed because of power, not because of the software problem or something else. So they can go call the customer and say, hey, you got a power outage there, it's not the box problem. So something to, one option to discuss. The next one is we see a lot of need to have some modularity to this box. There are a lot of different functions customers need. Someone might want to put an LTE modem in it. Extra storage, if there's a cache and there's some other function, being able to plug another drive in there. So have a slot that can be modular is very important. We see TDM. We don't really want to build a TDM infrastructure into this box, but we still have customers who are in places where they cannot get Ethernet access or they can't get reliable broadband. So TDM, the next few years, is still going to be a viable option. To be able to plug that in and support that, having that module to plug into would be very useful. And then focusing on the bootloader, the BIOS, and the other thing is if we're going to put a switch in there, how do we get to an open switch abstraction interface as opposed to dedicating going with the vendor's proprietary capabilities? So something to talk about there. Obviously multiple sizes for different enterprise locations are important. So there may be different specs for small those site types. Obviously these could be based on different CPU chipsets, physical size, port counts, etc. And obviously some of these things you want to be variable. Even if you have a medium spec, you still may want your memory size and your storage, et cetera, to be variable based on the needs of the center. Any question?
Generally speaking, I know it varies, but what kind of bandwidth do you envision this with today's technology over the next, let's say, 2 years? 100 meg, 1 gig, 10 gig?
We're supporting up to 1 gig right now, and we're working on a 10 gig based box. So probably sometime next year. But being that these are software virtual functions, a lot of it's the software can't forward at that rate. So there's certain virtual functions that have been optimized that can do it. Others that may run on the box, but maybe can't push 10 gig. But definitely, we've seen definitely getting 10 gig at least in the enterprise. This is a premise box, not a data center. So. Question?
So in terms of the form factor, do you anticipate something like this to be able to carry a great open 19 open select form factor?
This probably would not fall. This is not going to sit in the CO, so it's not going to have it's complying with all the things that we talked about earlier. So probably not. But, it's up definitely.
I think you mentioned that this can go into a data center.
Well, no, yeah, I guess it was more of a customer data center. Maybe that's just a WAN access device. So, yeah, I mean, we haven't got into that space yet. We're still at the 1 gig space. So
There's no gaps compliant for any of those things.
Yeah.
Yes, so I have a question on the strategy. Are you planning to brand it and manage the platform itself as an AT&T platform, or are you working with the VNF vendors to manage it for you? And the second one would be, can you give me a rough range on the ballpark AT&T is looking for in terms of costs?
So the first question, AT&T would manage this, so we're not looking for the VNF vendors to manage it. We would look for the VNF vendors to help integrate the software on it and provide any tooling and network management support. But we have a managed service business today that this is part of. So we'll do that. The cost, it depends. I don't know, there's different sizes, obviously, there's going to be different price points, but I don't know if we have a target yet.
Yeah. This is a red box that is not a home.
So I think you're asking where does this go?
It's like a data center box, then you got a red box that get a picture.
Yeah. So this would be in right now we offer is in a branch enterprise location. So picture a Home Depot store, a Walmart, a bank, places like that need a WAN access device. They want to secure it, so they need routing. They need security, so they want a firewall. WAN acceleration is a technology that provides optimization of the WAN. So the idea is instead of having 4 or 5 boxes, you can consolidate on one platform and run all these things as software.
Thank you. You look at also at a hardware version that ruggedized.
Yeah, I think that's open for discussion. Today, ours is not, but we do have asked for that. There's construction companies that come in and said, they're moving around. It's only going to be a temporary plan, partially outside. Self-site backhaul type routing is another use case for that. So,
And you mentioned how to manage service. Do you also take licensing?
I'm sorry?
Do you do licensing?
Licensing of what?
Of the VNF?
Right now, this platform isn't, both models can work, but today we maintain the license with the VNF vendor, and but in the future we want to allow customers to bring their own licensed software, even maybe bring their own software, their own developed software and run this platform. So the model, whatever is provided.
Did you say there was an LTE module for specifically architecture management?
Yeah, so a couple things. The way we manage ours today is we don't have LTE built into the box. Sometimes, there's a medium level enterprise site that we use. This could be in a basement, or maybe it's in a wiring closet. So we have an external small box that just Ethernet connects into it, so the customer could run it near a window or a higher floor. So that's just, it looks like an Ethernet port to the box. But there are some cases where smaller customers, smaller sites, they might be in a strip mall, they have good coverage. to have a slot in the future to plug in the modem. You don't need a separate box, just plug that modem in there with the SIM in it, and then get your LTE there. So that's kind of, the LTE can be used for out of band, or it could be used for customer data. But what I've stated today is the way our engineers get into the box is through LTE connect, using that modem. It gives them more bandwidth to download updates and things like that. But so the LTE is a very important part of the strategy going forward for customer data and
Any thought process towards telemetry using open config or something similar?
yeah, and that's open for discussion. I really just focused here on the hardware, but yeah. And I know I got one more slide. So this is kind of the high level, architecture, and not saying every architecture needs every one of these pieces, but the x86 CPU, you got the crypto acceleration, the TPM. We were using a system on a chip today, a SOC, with the NICs built on. In the bottom left is the L2 switch, that would be the hardware switch to offload the LAN traffic where the physical port's connected to. The BMC built in on the left. We see on the ports, as on the WAN especially, even customers asking on the WAN, is we have copper, but they also want fiber. We definitely need fiber options, SFP-based fiber on the WAN, because sometimes even customers on the LAN, they want to go to fiber. So having the SFP as well as the copper ports are important. That modular interface slide I just talked about is to be able to use that for multiple things. Maybe an ecosystem starts up on that of different functions that can plug into it if you have a standard-based slide. And then, as far as the storage, we use SSD storage, but it doesn't have to be that. Even when we get up into the large space and the terabyte space, maybe we go with dual hard drives with RAID support. And then the dual power capabilities, whether that's optional on the smaller options or the smaller platforms, or it's the standard on the larger platforms.
This was plugged into an AT&T Ethernet. Does it also require external Ethernet bit the Ethernet service?
Today it does, yes. Okay. Yeah. So we've talked a lot about that, of integrating them directly in here, but right now this is focused on global customers, multinationals, so that's a big part, but it's only one part of the customer base we're selling. This is more of a priority. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so the final slide is just, we want to start defining more detailed spec. Any contributions, any help, any input to this would be very welcome. We think there's a lot of benefit to the industry of having this open hardware to get a more spec, I should say. I'm so introduced to the terminology spec versus standard, but so I'm available after, Tom's available after. So any questions, either now or afterwards?
Yeah, sure. It's so interested in this, but another question is, in terms of the service level agreement with the end customer,
Yeah.
the AT&T presumably going to be the systems integrator here for thousands of insights, hundreds of end customers.
Right.
Is that a new business model for you, or is that something you're very comfortable with?
No, we're very comfortable. We've supported management of routers today, Cisco routers, for example, for customers. A lot of customers come to us and say, you do it for us. We want to worry about our core business. So I don't know the exact number. We have hundreds of thousands of those type of devices under management today. We integrate, we test the solution in our lab, we deploy a service, we upgrade the software to handle security updates totally for the customers.
Okay, so follow-on comment then is, you're in the ideal position to specify to us what size the component parts are. What do you want to consume as third-party products? Hardware, software, combos, how they're packaged, how they're certified, how they're supported. I mean, that would really help this community, I think, if AT&T said, this is the thing that we want to acquire.
Right.
And we'll support the end solution. But I think there's a lot of uncertainty about how you disaggregate the end-to-end solution into modular pieces that you are very, very happy to consume.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we want to do with this, is be able to do that. And not just AT&T, but the whole operator community together, I think, can bring a lot of innovation and ideas to it. So. question.
In terms of the optional slot for additional features, is this something that we can do, like a BCE standard slot?
Yeah.
Is this like a Ethernet connectivity?
Yeah, it could be something that's already existing standard. I mean, we haven't really got that far down the road to say what it would be and what we need to support all the different potential use cases. But, you know, if there's some standard that can do it that's out there, we guys will use it.
So if a customer had their own monitoring platform, monitoring system, would they be able to get span ports out of some of those switches, these switches that you had there, or put them in their own DNF function that would be a virtualized problem, for instance, so they can actually see what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, we don't offer that today, but that's definitely one of the use cases we want to do is to be able to offer probe capability on demand. So they can just turn it up when they have a problem, or even AT&T internally to troubleshoot a lot of this stuff can turn it up. You know, so no doubt that's definitely a use case.
I mean, I noticed that you're looking to form a team. Are you looking to form that team as part of the OCP Telco group, or are you looking to form that team as your own AT&T team, or in what ecosystem or what open community?
The OCP, I think that's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else?
Could you just clarify what the LT is for? Is it for like backup or?
So this is a picture of, you know, let's take a bank branch, right? So they have today a router that sits there that connects to the WAN, let's say it's a metro Ethernet service. So this box is going in there to replace that physical appliance. And then they can do other functions that would be a firewall function that sit behind it. So typically the WAN could be Ethernet, it could be TDM, it could be broadband. We see LTE as another potential WAN option to get back to the network. A lot of times it's used today as a backup because of the usage cost of LTE. So it's used as a backup if the primary goes down. So that's, from a customer point of view, that's the main use case. But we also have it so that our engineers, so if the WAN primary link goes down to Ethernet channels, our engineers can get into that box with LTE to figure out what, maybe it's actually the uCPE has a problem that has to be fixed and they can't get into the WAN. So there's a customer use case and an operator use case.
Probably you can't say what's the sort of rough attach rate for LTE and things.
Today, we don't have the LTE for customer usage today. We use it for the out of band. We're going to edit later this year. We're using it as a customer option, so it's not there. You know, but one other thing with LTE, obviously, you can't get LTE everywhere or good coverage. So, you know, we have an option of eventually doing this with broadband. So if you get a broadband, you can use that as a separate band as well. So.
That was my follow-up question, I guess, looking at 5G, being able to deploy more remote locations where you might not have any physical
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, we see this, you know, if you look at the past of a lot of our managed service, it was T1 back to our backbone network, you know, moved to Ethernet. So this box is designed to work on all transport. So internet, anybody's internet, you can encrypt the traffic if you need to get back to AT&T's network, if you need to go site to site, you can do that. I mean, really, the LTE is kind of a case of internet, it's a form of internet, you know, get back there. So you know, we see this operating on many different transport networks.
So, have you had a chance to hold other service providers to see if you can have a bigger ecosystem from the user perspective? So that when you form the OCP group, you know, there is no danger of another service provider coming, you know, 3 days later and forming another user group.
Yeah, right.
So have you had chance to kind of generate some kind of a common consensus from service provider perspective, and maybe 5 or 6 of you guys have said, we agree on this approach, and now let's go to the community and build this user group?
So through Tom, we've just started that process. So we've got a couple service providers, and any more that are here, anybody who want to work with us, we're welcome anybody to work with. So Tom's gone through this a number of times with his stuff, so he's very helpful and been in context. So definitely, that's our goal. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, because I saw some press release from Verizon on their white box
Yes.
customer premise
Yeah.
trial, which
Yeah.
they announced.
Yeah.
So just curious.
Yeah, no, definitely, that's what we want to do.
I would say, add to that, that one of the reasons we're here with this topic right now is this came up on a telco call previously, as, you know, people were interested, not just AT&T. We've been going down a path for some time, but there was interest from other carriers on the call. It seemed like it was the time had come for all of us to kind of come together and figure out what the common requirements were and develop something that would help everyone.
Yeah, I think we're out there, we've got a product, other people, you mentioned Verizon's now something, other providers are doing different things, so I think we're all getting some experience.
One umbrella, one can, just so that, you know, supplier community is not confused
Yeah.
in terms of what's going on.
Yeah, I think we've all got a little experience in this new model, so now we've got some things to bring to the table, and make it better. Okay, well, thank you.